Now, with the trainers that you've had that have no competitive strength sport experience, then you have them do the actual competitions or whatever it is. What are the changes that you see?
They become better trainers.
In what ways?
Because you become better at this skill. You're a better teacher of these lifts. You also learn, I always say this, like you'll pull down, we have a guy who bodybuilds, competitive bodybuilder. We have one bikini girl who works for us. So imagine if a overweight housewife comes in and you've gotten down to 3% on stage and she says, I'd kill to lose 20 pounds. You're like, that's nothing. We had a guy named Jason Harbin, who's my head trainer, has been with us forever. Drug-free, raw guy. He went from 625 to 700 all the way up to 720. Then I thought he broke his back. It was kind of like a Louis story. He couldn't get out of bed. When he would get to the gym, he'd have to like push himself out of the car. I was really concerned for him. He went on to squat 760 and 780 all raw. And I tell people all the time, his back was as bad as yours was, but he got back to squatting 780. I watch a lot of these PTs and these coaches. They're not therapists. They just tell you to stop doing stuff. He solved the problem. But if you just have a bad back and you're like, hey, I just want to play golf again, that's like a layup. Mm-hmm. He got back to putting 50 more pounds on his back. And he was a good squatter. 720 and 780 is good. That's your job. I look at that's my job. Like I got this shoulder that Jones ripped off. It's my job to get back to a 400-pound bench. And I don't have a rotator cuff. Mm-hmm. So there's times I go, I don't even know if I want to do this right now. Like we were squatting the other day and we were talking about getting under a straight bar. I'm just going like, what am I even doing? Everybody I trained was 28 years old. Mm-hmm. Like I'll be 47 this year. I'm like, what am I doing? But I'm doing my job. And that's what a lot of these strength coaches don't get. And I'm not saying you got to tear your body to pieces, but when you get to a point as you're competing, as you know all too well, everybody starts out like, oh, I'll do this. I'm just going to I'll add 50 this month. I'll add 50. And then they hit a plateau. And every time this happens, I'll say, now we'll see how smart you are. Mm-hmm. Now we'll figure it out. And that's, I think, the value, but it's your job. I can't say it enough. That's your job.
Yeah. I would agree that the only pivot that I personally had to make to that is it's not the competing, because I have the competing, but there is a measurable big goal that's set each year to be able to happen sometime during Q4. Because I'm in retail things, I got to be able to move things. Yeah. But the thing with the competing, that when I was still trying to do these things with set dates, it fucked me up even more. Yeah. Right. Because you start to wear down a little bit and it's like, well, I can deload and then I got to push here to be able to hit this set date. But when I gave myself the freedom to move the date, that's cool. I can move it, 3 weeks back, or things are going really well. Let's try to peak and hit it now. Yeah. So it comes a little bit closer. That creates a measurable anchor.
Yes.
Which at the beginning of the year, when I lay it out, it's kind of like, fuck, man, do I really want to do this? Because it's not going to be easy. Mm-hmm. Right. And but then that anchor becomes that target. Like, fuck, if I want to be able to do that, my conditioning's fucked up. So I need to get the conditioning set here first. Because without that, I'm not going to have the base, to be able to recover from what I need to do here. So then it ends up planning out that whole year training with that flexibility to be able to, because that target's there. Yep. And then you continue to learn from all that, more and more each time, to where the last few years, it's kind of just repeating the same goal, just at a lower body weight. I'm going to do the same thing, 10 pounds less, same thing, 10 pounds less, and just keep chipping it down. And I don't know how, because I've been this way since I was 12. Like if I didn't have that, I wouldn't even fucking train.
Yeah. Well, but why are you so sought after? Why do you think you're so sought after as a strength advisor or a conditioning coach?
No fucking idea.
I don't, because you've lived with it. You've never quit, and you're not the greatest ever, right?
Nope.
But why are people still reaching out to you to this day? Because you've given everything to it, so you have the answers.
Yeah. Well, I made a lot of mistakes. Way more mistakes.
That's all part of it, though.
Yeah, and the quitting thing's a weird thing, because I was raised to not quit. Yeah. But there's been a lot of things that I still continue to do that I probably should have quit, but I won't fucking quit. Yeah. So It's a net positive, but sometimes I wonder, because of all that. But it carries over, right? And you have mentalities that it's a weird thing with athletes that you'll work with and just strength sports in general. There's distinct different personalities.
Yeah.
Like some people you'll put on, like I can't stand the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Right. I just can't. That's why conjugate works so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it was different. There's a lot of uncertainty. Like you come in on Monday, it's like, well, what are we doing? We're sitting there eating fucking McDonald's for half an hour trying to figure out what fucking exercise we're going to do.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It was like, how did you lay it out? Like we fucking never did.
Never did.
The only thing would be like, well, we did deadlifts last week. We only do that like once every 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
This is not that. And, but some people have to have that certainty.
Yeah.
Where it's got to kind of be that same thing. And
Eddie's that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a good example. So it has to be laid out, in that linear fashion to get the greatest buy-in.
Yeah, it's well said.
Right. And that's where it kind of all boils down to. Does the athlete buy in? Does the coach,
well said.
Does the coach buy into their own bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because then it's the field's changed obviously over the past few years, or not past few years, but past decades, where there were like grand poobahs of each bias.
Yeah.
Like Louis is the conjugate guy, Dr. Ken Leisner's the hit guy.
Yeah.
Charlie Francis is, the speed guy. And, and I always kind of knew if I went to those people,
mm-hmm.
then I know that it's biased, but what can I learn from their bias to be able to apply?
Absolutely.
Or even the seminars that I would go to that I can apply to myself, but even to my clients as well, because that's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. I mean, 'cause you go from your own training session to training Gen Pop, there's 2 different fucking worlds.
2 worlds.
But there's a lot of correlation. But if you become like part of that cult and then you shut off, you put the blinders on, then you're not learning from all those other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes problematic too, where with a lot of the coaches I see coming up today, it's the opposite. It's like they're trying to learn from they're not, it's almost better to buy into a cult than what they're doing now, which I hate to say.
I agree.
But it is, because if you buy into just one of those cults, but you stay with it long enough to see where the shortfalls are,
mm-hmm.
then the shortfalls are not 100% of it. No matter what the discipline, it's never going to be 100% of it. The shortfalls might be 30% of it, but you got 70% you figured out.
Yeah.
When I would consult with Louis, with the strength coaches, we'd use a dry erase board or table, and the conversation would always, this after Louis left, that I would have with him is like, what have you found that worked?
Yeah.
And then just lay all that shit out. Then you'll find one gap, right? And a lot of times I didn't even know the answer to that gap.
But you found the gap.
It's like, here's a gap. Maybe you need to find the mobility guy, or a speed guy or whatever it is, but don't erase the whole fucking table.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what a lot of them were doing, is they just erase the whole table and then put in new philosophy.
No, I mean, like when I came to Jones, and he's got a guy named Jordan Chavez, does a lot of his strength and conditioning. He's great. And he's got a guy named Lawrence who does his cardio stuff. And I even said, I go, what do you want me? You got like 10 coaches. But it was more just to organize it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would basically make sure that they weren't, like, hey, you're doing squats, that's fine. But, he's got jujitsu tomorrow. Like you can't, or he's got.
You may have 2 people doing the same thing too.
Yeah. So I'm like, you guys, I would just kind of organize it. And I think that's where I've had success. But that comes back to, I think, powerlifting. The other thing I always hear that drives me nuts, you can see it's bothered me because I've heard it like 10 times. I'll hear guys say, there's a guy who's spoke at one of your seminars. I won't say who, but one time he said to me, he goes, powerlifting's so one-dimensional. I go, well, so is the 100-meter dash. So what's like, yeah, it is, but it's a highly sought-after trait. So is speed. So is jumping. Like, so is the best miler. So it's they belittle it. But all these, when you compete, it's accountability. And I keep coming back to that because where it's helped me with these fighters is say like, okay, like Henry Cejudo doesn't want to touch a barbell, hates it. Like does not want to touch it. So it's like, okay, how am I going to get him? And I use the tiger belt squat exclusively with him. Jones loves to power lift. So we let him lift, but I still have gotten really good at saying like, okay, how can I get the most out of you? Hit your goals in the least amount of work. Mm-hmm. Because I get that you guys train all week. And so that's the advantage I have that I think other coaches don't. And the coaches that compete have that advantage.
Now, on the flip side of that, and this would probably be more your high school kids, how do you get them to work, to put in more effort?
Then you can kind of yell at them. I mean, those are the kids where it's like, if the parents are cool, it's like, get to work. But there's things I like we have an overspeed treadmill. And I think measuring things, I mean, part of what made, I think, West Side so entertaining and the buy-in that you talk about is max effort, right? So it's like, all right, what are we going to do today? Pin 3. I mean, Louis always tells a story when you guys dragged him in off, quit dragging that sled. That's fun because it's a competition. We create a lot of competition. So whether it's our overspeed treadmill, our resisted treadmill, the lifting, jumps, we measure every jump you do. So it's like, he just got 26 holding 12-pound dumbbells. Oh, I'm going to get 27. You create that competition. That's your buy-in.
Well, it's kind of hard to not go hard on an overspeed treadmill.
That's the beauty of it.
So it's going to force that.
Yeah.
How have you implemented that? I mean, how do you go about, I don't want to say periodization, but how do you go about progressions?
Yeah, with a beginner, it's just like anything. There's a little bit, probably in the 80% range, 85%, just teaching them how to use it. Over time, you can build that up. And then when they get more advanced, and I don't know if you find this, when people get more advanced, they actually have to do less in a weird way. Like Usain Bolt running a 100-meter dash is different than, a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, there's more recruitment.
Yeah, so the better they get, the higher the intensity, the less the volume. That's basically what we do.
It's the same thing in powerlifting.
Absolutely.
It's one-dimensional.
Yeah, so it's so easy to pull 800 and bench 500 and all these. It's like all the geeks. It's just funny to me. I shouldn't call them geek, but just I don't mind if you have a counter. If you're like, hey, I think lifting's stupid, and look at my 40-inch vert. I go, shit, okay, that's pretty cool. But then these guys have an answer. They're not out running 40s. They're not out dunking basketballs. They just don't want accountability. Lift, that's the beauty of strength sports or accountability. If you're in Olympic lifting, strongman, that all counts.
Well, when you break it all down, it becomes more basic than people want to make it up to be.
Sure.
And we've seen this all over the years. People will extract a method, if it's overspeed eccentrics or if it's, take any method of the hundreds that are out there, then that becomes the new method, which becomes the new program, and it's all based upon strip sets or whatever the fuck it is. And that happens less today because I think it gets countered way faster.
I'll give you another one. You're asking about competing. You're 100% right on that. The lifting, you were asking like, how does it help my trainers? I always tell the story about Stan. When Stan comes to visit, he has a suitcase full of food every time. He never misses a meal. He's like meticulous. He went to sell that cooler. Do you remember that when he did Shark Tank? I've never seen Stan with a cooler in my life. I spent a lot of time with Stan. He didn't sell the cooler. And I tell my guys all the time, you can't sit there and you're out eating, McDonald's and Arby's and then give a lecture to somebody about dieting because it just comes through. You know what I mean? And if you just talk about lifting, but you're not really into it, there's an authenticity that it's not tangible, but there's something that you can tell when somebody's serious. And it's like, okay, I'll listen to them. And I think that's the other thing about competing, or at least holding yourself accountable with some lifting. Yeah. Remember at the end, I think I told you once, Louis was bringing his runners down to run on my overspeed treadmill. And it was to the end. And he was like, my guys don't listen to me anymore. And I said, because you're not lifting with them. Because at least when he was getting you to do stuff, he's in there doing it. And you might have hated it, but it's like, well, he's doing it. But when somebody's sitting there barking at you, they don't care. There was a difference. I don't want to say with everybody, because Chuck's Chuck and, Joe McCoy is Joe McCoy. And some of them. But when Kenny called Louis out, because he was retired when I first came in. Yeah. And then Louis came back, there was a difference. Absolutely. Right? Because for me personally, it pissed me the fuck off, right? Because he got stronger. Yeah. Then he got as strong as me. And then body weight wise, he's stronger than me. And it's like, what the fuck? This guy. And so I went hard, after his ass for that, because I was pissed for one thing, right? Because it bothered me, but it raised everybody else, right? Because there's a certain degree of credibility, that comes with that. And then walking the walk and doing it, and then he's more fucked up than everybody else that's in there. So you can't complain about something being fucked up. Yeah. You just can't. Like, how can you? If he's doing it, fucking guy's draining blood out of his kneecap before you're squatting. Like,
I'm going to complain. My fucking quad hurts. You know what?
Yeah, you can't.
You just can't.
No.
You know, and it had a huge difference because of that. And I can see where it's coming down on the other end, but there's probably other variables that came as well, where one thing I personally, and say it again, personally felt when we went from 800 square foot to 2,000 square foot.
Yeah,
it was a big difference.
Yeah.
Because when we'd have the squat group, you know, 2 people squatting, the other ones are running. Even if the other ones are doing a reverse hypers, they're only like from here to that bench rack away, you know, so they're over for every set.
Lost some intimacy.
Yeah. So yeah.
A weird word, but yeah.
Yeah. And now they're way over by that front door. It's like, hey, motherfuckers, you know, can you get over here? You know, so some of that, but it's probably more than that, just because 10, 12 years in one place and then a new place. Me personally, I'm probably like, fuck this new place.
Yeah.
I like the old place, you know, that kind of thing too.
100%.
That plays into that. With Parillo, interesting here is I had a stint in college where I was bodybuilding, and my roommate at the time we kind of got into the Parillo 10,000 calorie, basically fiber and MCT oil diet. And so we came up and ended up, first time I ever belt squatted was with John and
you did
Vince Rinaldi. And yeah, I mean,
he hooks you into the rock climbing harness.
Oh man, no, it was a rod.
But you had like a harness with the weight hangs between your legs.
And it was a death set, puking my brains out. But that stint didn't last that long, but the training was completely different. The diet was way different. And you've known John off and on, you know, and now you're co-owner of Parillo Performance. So how did you first meet him, and when did you meet him?
I met him in like 2005, and he had his place, and we actually leased his building where Wiedemer is now. That was all a gym. So he had nobody in there. And we said, we'll lease it from you. So we ran a business out of there. And just like all these guys, I mean, John's way is John's way. Mm-hmm. Anybody else is wrong. But
that goes to what I was talking about.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how my philosophy was back then. Mm-hmm. It's like, how's this different? Well, the intensity and the effort's way harder.
Oh, way harder.
Right?
Hardest workouts ever done.
Oh, yeah. But then the volume wasn't decreasing. It was like, oh, like what the fuck, right? Either your work capacity has to meet the volume. Yeah.
That's the deal I finally made with him as I got older. I said, we do accessories there. So we do the belt squat, his leg press. And I finally said, like, you get one set, you know, you do like the force negatives and the guy's picking you up. And I was like, you get one set per exercise. Because to your point about John, where I wore out with him is he's great. But it would like, you would do a weight you'd never done for 10 on a belt squat, and you just did 20. He'd be like, all right, let's add more. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
finally, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. But on the flip side of that.
And then he would say, well, you're not eating enough. I'm like, I'm at 6,000 calories. Yeah. You're not eating enough.
On the flip side of that, he was training bodybuilders predominantly, right? So they didn't have to worry about how that was going to negatively impact their ability to display force with a 1 rep max.
Yes, exactly. Well, and this is why I come back to like I actually use that belt squat. If my leg press, I love to leg press. My squats didn't go up when I leg pressed, so I gave them up. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean by accountability. You have to decide, like, if you want to leg press just because you like to leg press, that's fine, because none of us are really getting paid for this. But if you want to be accountable to getting stronger, that's why we don't really leg press. But we do that belt squat. Mm-hmm. Not maybe all the reps he wants.
Yeah.
But I liked it because it made me use my hips more. And I thought, because I started early with you guys with the briefs early on the box, I thought my hips actually got underdeveloped. I wish I'd used no briefs for a while.
Yeah, I can see that, because
my back got strong. My back got really strong. To your point about no back issues. But I had to get my hips stronger when I went to raw. When I went like multiply to single ply, then went to raw, I was like, my hips are actually weak.
Did you have to bring your stance in too?
Yes.
Yeah. How much?
About a foot each side. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which was wild, because I mean, it was humbling, but it's just different. And I agree with you. Said this once, I heard on a podcast, like you talked about the feedback loop. So it wasn't all weakness. There's just some feedback loops, and Go do that. But I thought the belt squat John's way really taught me how to use my glutes in the squat.
So how did this co-ownership, is it with Parillo Performance?
It's with a guy named Jeff Hyatt. So he's one of our clients, and he loved the products and I love the products. And then John just kind of abruptly shut it down. Couldn't find a buyer. So we were down a couple months. And I said, John, like, you're not selling them anymore? He goes, no, we're done. So then we bought it back and started manufacturing, which is
And how long ago was that?
About a year ago.
And how's that going so far? I mean, that's a whole different domain now.
It's a lot harder than you think. It's getting there, but it's harder than you think. It's starting to pick up now, though. But yeah, it's hard. And now with the regulations, so we're changing our bars, no dyes, no artificial sweeteners. I mean, so a lot of John's, the dye thing is out of, I mean, people do not want it. So the bars, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's just, use, we like beetroot powder instead of red dye 40. We use monk fruit instead of sucralose, but there's a lot of changes coming.
Are the labeling regulations still in? Because I remember years ago when DeFranco did his bar, the labeling was just ridiculous. Yeah. The shit he had to go through.
It's very hard. There's a lot going on. It's not easy. The first to say it.
Yeah.
I wish I could give better reports.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great products. I think the bars, like I say this more as a customer than an owner, the bars are phenomenal. We make one now that's 330 calories. We made it for Stan, actually. It's called the World's Strongest Bar. It's got 330 calories, 33 grams of protein. It's a great in a pinch. I mean, I eat them on the way up here. So I think supplements are just that. I mean, people, there's no magic one. But I do think a good bar or a powder, like I'm driving back to Cincinnati, I'll smash something.
So with that bar, what's the fats in there? Is it kind of like a meal replacement?
Yeah, it's only 5 grams of fat.
Let me take that back. I don't want to say meal replacement.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'll usually eat 2 of them.
Yeah,
and it's all MCT oil for our fats. It's only 5 grams of fat. They're pretty tasty, and they like I said. I mean, at the end of the day, I think I'm not a dieting expert. I wouldn't say I've done it a long time. I've helped a lot of people, but if like you want to get ready for a bodybuilding show, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
But it is a calorie equation. If you're trying to get bigger and stronger, you got to eat.
Well, with his original products, he was developing those so they could be used for people as they were prepping for a show.
Oh, here's the thing about like John, Louis, all the guys I kind of gravitate towards, to your point. I mean, John's like a cult or whatever you want to call it. But he's all in, and he's not like, he believes it. Like we have something called PB for MCT, mix defatted peanut flour with MCT oil, makes an incredible peanut butter. And he will tell you, you can eat that all the way up to the show. And he had I think he had 12 Mr. Olympias or something. He had a pretty good resume. Yeah. And he said, no, my guys did this. And I believe him. I do believe him. I mean, I've seen some of his bodybuilders are phenomenal, but he pushes those calories. Mm-hmm.